We live? Yeah? We live? You guys hear me? Check. Okay. Oh, you can. Hey, everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. We got a lot of news from Bank of America. Bank of the Americas. Guys, I said yesterday, it all starts tomorrow. I used the clickiest of clickbaits that I could. I'd had like 3 cups of coffee. Today I had 4. And where there's smoke, there is fire. And it looks like things are getting a little hot. The heat's turning up, and we're at El Muy Fuego right now. So I've got 3 stories about Bank of America. Now, I got a feeling. It's not a professional feeling. I didn't go to college. I don't know all that smart stuff. Just to do with a brohawk and a dream. And that's a dream about getting you guys ready for the next banking collapse. That's right. They happen every once in a while. Our history is just flooded with those good old boys just printing money and stealing money and then just imploding and asking you for money to bail them out. And I believe we're coming into a great one, triggered by a commercial real estate crisis. And I believe the Bank of America is one of those banks that just seems to be having issues. And I think they need tissues right now. So the first story, we got 3 of them. We're going to dive in right now. And do me a favor. Type 1 if you like Bank of America. Anybody. At any time. Wow. I think the comments are actually going in reverse. Type 2 if you're not a big fan. All right, guys, here we go. And guys, I don't get paid by any banks. I just like them all equally. All right, here we go. First story out of Yahoo Finance. Bank of America CEO flags the effects of higher capital requirements. What? Why would you do that? Brian Moynihan. The Ninja just did a video the other day about higher capital requirements and how it's going to squeeze the big banks. And you just dove right in. You just went right to the press. This is going to be a problem. I would love to play poker with you. Here we go. Out of New York, Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan said U.S. authorities need to be careful when implementing new capital requirements of Basel III Accord to avoid reducing the ability of U.S. banks to compete globally. Wait a minute, Brian Moynihan. Are you saying that it's a mere 2% is going to keep you from equally ripping off the rest of the world like the other banks? Think about this. This is exactly what I said the other day. KOV, thank you so much for the super chat. I said, this isn't going to go over well. The Basel III requirements that require banks to have more capital in their bank that they don't go out and, gamble. Thank you, Adam Cox, for the super chat. Is going to be bad because margins are already super tight. Now, I know there's a lot of news out today. Guess what Bank of America is doing? They're paying an even bigger dividend. Yeah, I got to keep those shareholders happy. Do not sell. Do not sell. Especially you guys, the big major shareholders. We're going to get to one of those stories too that have overseas subsidiaries holding our stock. Please don't sell. Right? They got to keep paying that dividend. All right. Remember, I want you to remember this. During the fall of Lehman Brothers, it was widely known that banks and big Wall Street firms were paying out their executives massive bonuses. They were paying out dividends in the middle of telling the government, hey, we're done. We're done. All right? So I did a story yesterday. I'm like, it all starts tomorrow. Some people are like, clickbait. I'm like, I know. It was awesome clickbait, but it wasn't. You see, because this is a big deal, and it starts today. Okay, here we go. These rules aren't going to be implemented for some time, but the banks are already literally on day 1. Day uno. I'm really big. I'm going to be speaking Spanish through this whole thing, okay? Muy fuego uno. You get where I'm going with this. All my Mexican friends are just like, oh, gosh. That's okay. On day 1, you already have the CEO of one of the biggest banks in the country warning of its possible implications. What that tells you is that they are not as healthy as they would want you to think. All right? Because if they were, they'd be like, 2%, got this in the bag, be crushing it. In an interview with Fox Business, Moynihan said the process needs to assure the playing field is level, saying the rules should be implemented carefully so not to make the U.S. less competitive. Okay, so let me put that ninja ease. All right, listen, if we're all going to rip people off, why can't I rip people off as equally as all the other banks? Why can't I speculate just like all the banks? Why do I got to keep an extra 2% in the bank account? I don't think that's fair. That's the translation right there. Seriously. He says here, we're not talking about the big 8 banks. We're talking about a $30 or $40 billion bank or a $100 billion bank not being able to compete for a middle market loan because a bank or a supplier in Europe is getting a lower cost for capital, Moynihan said. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Bank of America is part of the big banks that the FDIC is actually charging higher rates for the FDIC insurance, and they're all complaining about that as well. They're saying it's not fair that we have to pay. That's the truth. So you got to use satire and joke around every once in a while because it's absolutely insane. It's so easy to see where the banking system is headed. When you have the FDIC, a leaked video come out from November saying that we got to keep this crash scenario, what's going on with the banks collapsing, away from the public because they'll panic. Or they already have. You see, I think I think you guys agree. Say I do if you don't have, or say I don't if you don't have faith in the current banking system. Do you believe they're too leveraged? Do you believe by saying I don't think that the banks have enough money, and I believe they're going to come back asking for a bigger handout with an even bigger threat to Congress? Thank you, Hank Paulson, for that in 2008. A bigger threat saying, you know what, if you don't bail us out, there's going to be blood in the street. There's going to be riots in the street, cities burning down. That's what they did. They literally held Congress with a gun to their head, a knife to their throat. Well, that's not going to do very good for this video. I should have said that. But anyway, you guys get my point. So he's telling you right here, by you making us keep 2% extra in the bank, that we can't go out and frivolously blow because of capital requirements, that's going to really hurt us. Okay, here we go. Let's keep going. Asked about the deal between PacWest Bancorp and Bank of California and the sale of a $2 billion mortgage portfolio to JP Morgan Chase, Moynihan said JP Morgan helped the deal to come through, which is terrific. I got a feeling they're all best friends. They're all in the same club, and you're not in it. But we're making our own. We're making a club right now that we don't need them. We're getting out of debt. We're going to choose to use our money for good. We're going to leverage our own money. We're going to become the lenders. It says Bank of America expects a slight recession in the first part of the year, next year, and predicts the first interest rate cut will happen by mid-2024. Let me ask you this. Wouldn't you agree, and please put it down here in the live chat or the comment section, that all these banks have a vested interest in telling you, you know what, it's already obvious we're going into a recession. Many of us, like myself, believe we're going into a mini depression or a massive, massive recession, one that will make the Great Recession. They're going to have to steal the name from it. They're going to, oh, wait, this is now the Greater Recession. Wouldn't it be in their best interest to get you not to panic and say, we're going to get into a mild recession because it's already obvious you're going to get into something. So it's like they're going to throw you a bone. Okay, we're going to get into something that's going to be mild. Don't worry, it's going to be a soft landing. Because they know that if you knew the truth, you'd be out buying food ahead of time and doing all that stuff saying, I may lose my job. Wouldn't it be better to save money, constrict my own personal spending, save money for a rainy day, buy some extra food? If I lose my job, I have something to eat off of, money in the bank to save. And that's not what they want. They want you blowing money. They want you investing money in their funds where they skim off most of it. I'm just saying, just seems pretty apparent to me. He says here, the power of the consumer, the power of the American economy, he said, that's keeping the economy going. Well, no duh, Brian. That's literally what happens all the time until power is taken away, which you're part of right now. I mean, the whole banking system is imploding because you went highly leveraged and gave people loans that they shouldn't have had in the first place, whether it be car loans, home loans, commercial real estate loans. They're all the same. And so now there's a constricting of loans. Let's move on to the next story. Again, it's about Bank of America, everyone. Oh, hey, can you guys do me the most massive favor? There's like 2,000 people on the live stream right now. Is there any way of getting this to 1,000 thumbs up, like in the next 60 seconds? That'd be so awesome. Let's dive into this next story. It's going to be quick because they want to charge for this story. But Bank of America Dallas market president, the Dallas market president, reacts to penalties from federal regulators. Okay, this is her right here. This is what she looks like. All right. So she's going to react to penalties from federal regulators. The Dallas market president, Jennifer Chandler, said her phone has stayed surprisingly quiet since regulators announced $150 million in penalties against Bank of America earlier this month. She goes on to talk about how she is confident in the bank's growth. See, what they're doing right now is they are dodging bullets and they are in panic mode. They are trying to fix things because the news headlines are coming out about Bank of America. That's all I did before they wanted to charge me. And I go, Ninja don't pay. All right, here we go. Out of simplywallstreet.com, here's a great story. Have insiders sold Bank of America shares recently? This is brand new, all right? Thank you so much, Levi, for the super chat. Oh, and he's asking about credit unions. Look, I'm going to tell you what. I think all banks have got issues. I think credit unions to a lesser amount, but then they also have similar issues because they aren't exactly tied in with the Fed, right? I think the Federal Reserve would love to see credit unions go under. I have a credit union. I have multiple banks, all right? I got lots of banks because not all of them are going to go under, not all of them. And the ones that do, if you have your accounts in the right account set up with FDIC, you'll be fine. That's the truth. But you want to take advantage of this panic that's going to set in, all right? And it's not going to happen tomorrow, all right? I think you're going to see it start full-blown end of September, early October, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until we have a wipeout. But it's not, issue to panic. You just go get ready. Check us out. So here's the story. Have insiders sold Bank of America shares recently? Let's go through it. We wouldn't blame Bank of America Corporation shareholders if they were a little worried about the fact that Dean Athasanza, I don't even know how to pronounce that, the president of regional banking, recently netted about $2.4 million selling shares at an average price of $31.49. That sale reduced their total holding by 18%. Which is hardly significant, but far from the worst we've seen. Well, that's interesting. So the president of regional banking sold 2.4 million shares worth of Bank of America stock. Saline, thank you so much. You guys check out the question from Saline Super Chat. Thank you so much. All right, so here we go. It says here, the president, and this goes into the Bank of America insider transactions over the last year. The president of Global Corporate and Investment Banking, Matthew Coder, made the biggest insider sale in the last 12 months. That single transaction was for $7.7 million worth of shares at a price of $35.91 each. While we don't usually like to see insider selling, it's more concerning if the sale takes place at a lower price. It's of some comfort that this sale was conducted at a price well above the current share price. So that's interesting. So they sold and it's down, right? It's down about, 10%, 11% right now. So they did good. So it may not tell us anything about how insiders feel about the current share price. Bank of America insiders didn't buy any shares over the last year. So let's repeat that. Bank of America insiders didn't buy any shares over the last year. You see, the reason why, and I'm just going to speculate here, and I'm just a ninja. They know something's afoot in the banking system. They must be watching the ninja. I know, it's crazy. It's sort of a thing right now. And they're not buying, but they are selling. It says you could see the insider transactions over the last year depicted in the chart below. I didn't copy that part. I wasn't supposed to read that part. There's a chart that shows the insider trading. It says this. It goes on. Sorry, I digress. Does Bank of America boast high insider ownership? For a common shareholder, it's worth checking how many shares are held by company insiders. A high insider ownership often makes company leadership more mindful of shareholder interests. It's great to see that Bank of America insiders own 0.2% of the company, worth about $480 million. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for the super chat. This kind of significant ownership, whoa, wait a minute, 0.2% is significant? Do you guys think it's 0.2%? Not even 1%. 0.2%. They're saying it's significant. Starting to question their thoughts here. This kind of significant ownership by insiders does generally increase the chance that the company is run in the interest of all shareholders. So what do the Bank of America insider transactions indicate? An insider hasn't bought Bank of America stock in the last 3 months, but there was some selling. And even if we look over the last year, we didn't see any purchases. On the plus side, Bank of America makes money and is growing profits. Well, you're really looking at the good side. While insiders do own a lot of shares in the company, which is good, our analysis of the transaction doesn't make us feel confident about the company. You see, sort of news stories like this are coming out, or blogs like this are coming out. The Bank of America is probably going, didn't we hire a PR guy? What's he doing? What do you mean he's on vacation? I mean, that's pretty much what they're doing right now. It says, so while it's helpful to know that what insiders are doing in terms of buying and selling, it's also helpful to know the risks of a particular company is facing. When we did our research, we found 2 warning signs of Bank of America. One is possibly serious, that we believe deserve our full attention. Of course, you might blah, 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 blah. Okay, here we go. They go on to then at that point try and charge you. So let me add in a little bit there. 2%. I did the video yesterday about Basel III requirements. And what the most important thing I want you to remember about Basel III is when it was really starting to be implemented, this rule, it made gold a tier 1 asset. And that was amazing. And you have to remember, Basel III was voted on by bankers around the globe. Central banks and governments are buying gold. Ours are not. And the fact, no problem for my comments on the super chat. The fact is, we're in a position where, wait, hold on. My chief's calling me. What's up?
Hey, can you do me a favor? I'm trying to certify.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm live right now. I'll wrap it up real quick and I'll get it jammed.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thanks, man. Bye. That was the chief, El Jefe. Always got to have the radio, make sure we're not going on a call. Point being is this. I talked about Basel III. They made gold a tier 1 asset for banks. To think that it wasn't before is insane. Other governments and central banks buying gold, we are not. Our central bank is not. Our government is not. Okay? I don't even believe that we're telling the truth about what's in Fort Knox. I think this is an important time point. When yesterday I did the video about the 2%, it's amazing, and I did it, and I talked about Bank of America. It's ironic that the next day, the CEO of Bank of America is out there whining about his inability, or his bank's inability to be competitive with other banks on the global stage because they're being told they need to withhold an extra 2% in deposits. Think about that. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I believe, honestly, that we are in a position or a time in life where you are realizing the truth, you're seeing it, so you just need to start getting ready for it. Get ready for an epic meltdown. Because when banks start melting down, they cease lending. They've already slowed severely their lending, but now they're going to cease it. And when that happens, which I believe it really starts in earnest within the next 3 months, you're going to see so many opportunities because the emperor has no clothes, right? But that's not usually revealed until everybody can see their eyes are open. And I think our bank is akin to the emperor that is wearing no clothes. You may think they're great, but in the end, it's just like that little man pulling on the strings in the Emerald City in the Wizard of Oz. Just a little man, not powerful at all. He just makes himself feel powerful or look powerful because he's tugging on these big machines. And that's what we're doing right now in our banking system. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a great day. Gold and silver's down today. I'd check out some deals. I don't like buying gold and silver when they're up. I'm not a FOMO. I'm not a panic guy. I'm a value guy. I like buying things when they're down. All right, with that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.